What's up guys, I'm Ivan Calderon and today we're going over part 2 of the How to Make a Beat series. Okay, so last week we spoke about the importance of sound selection. Now, if you haven't watched that video yet, I'm gonna link it up here somewhere, so definitely check it out. But this week we're going over what I'm calling laying the foundation. Now, an important thing to note here is that everybody has their way of making beats. It's not right or wrong, it's just whatever works for you. I'm gonna be showing you guys how I make my beats, and the goal is for you to maybe take a thing or two that you can bring back to your own process. Now, I've spoken about this before, but the way that I like to make music is I like to start from the hook, oftentimes also called a chorus in different genres. But this is the section where the song keeps coming back to. This is the catchy section, the section that people will sing along to. So I like to start there and eventually just take things away to make like intros and verses and breakdowns and all that stuff. Now, I'm also more of a melodic player. I usually start with melodies. I played the trumpet and the guitar when I was in high school, and then when I got into production, a little bit of key skill started to develop. Now, this isn't always the case. Sometimes I start with drums, but I would say probably about 8 to 9 times out of 10, I'm always starting with the melodies. Now, because we already have a sample, which I'll show you guys in a minute again, I'm gonna just go ahead and jump in the drums. And then once we have that kind of set, that foundation, that rhythmic section, I'm gonna go back and start adding more melodic elements. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm gonna review real quick what I had last week and then we'll get started. All right, so this is a sample that I had picked out last week. I'll let you guys hear it again. So like I mentioned last week, I want to make a smoother record with some like 90s boom bap drums. Now, just to kind of review what drums we have real quick, I do have them here. And we're also going to be using Easy Drummer, which is a VST that takes a drum set and lays it across your keyboard just to kind of add to that vibe. So since we have the sample ready, let's go ahead and jump into the drums real quick. Okay, I think the drums are pretty well laid out. This is what I have so far. Check it out. Okay, so I'm really liking it so far. I'm digging it. I think now, like I said, I just want to add more layers just to kind of make it fuller. So let's dive into that. Okay, let's take a look at what we got. So of course, the first thing we had was a sample, and we added a kick and a snare in a very boom bap pattern, and that sounds like this. The second thing we did was we added a closed and open hat. Now, this is a cool trick for you guys if you're trying to make these style of beats. Now, whenever I'm doing stuff like this, I try to envision what the drummer would be doing in front of his kit. Now, he or she only has 2 hands and 2 feet. So if you're hitting a closed hat, there's no way, unless you had some help, that you could also hit an open hat. So as you can see here, the blue little rectangles, these are closed hats. The green ones are open hats. So wherever I programmed an open hat, I made sure to take away that closed hat to give it like that natural, realistic feel. So together, everything sounds like this. And again, I left that ending kind of open because I wanted to do something with like toms. So the next thing that we kind of did there was just, you know, a regular crash just to kind of introduce that whole segment. And that's really it. Now for that last part, that ending, I wanted to add those toms, so I brought in that easy drummer, which you guys can see here. And I think I played one of these here. So on the keys that were here, here, and here, and I kind of did like a flare. So if we listen to that, this is what that sounds like. And then the toms come in here. So once we had the drum set in, I kind of wanted the beat to have more body. So I decided to put in a Rhodes there. Now, Rhodes, along with like pianos in general, are kind of very synonymous to older hip hop music. So I decided to pick this one here, and I played these chords. And together with the beat sounds like this. Now, a cool trick here that you guys can also do to make your pianos more interesting is to kind of like delay the notes in that triad chord to make it sound more like fluttery. So that's exactly what I did. If you take a look and a listen here, you could see it just kind of even adds more like of a soul element kind of. But everything together, drums, sample, Rhodes, sounds like this. Now the next thing I wanted was kind of like a supporting, very subtle counter melody, which is why we brought in this guy. And that by itself sounds like this. And in context with everything else, of course, sounds like this. Now, of course, we needed a bass line, so I opted in for something more, not necessarily live sounding, but more like OVO type, very saw synth, but very subtle kind of bass. And that's the bass that we have here. And in context, okay, so I think this beat is essentially finished, but I feel like there's something missing. I feel like there's that like flair, I don't know what to call it, pizzazz. There's something missing. All right, so we decided to have a little fun there and add some guitar. That sounds like this. Now what I did was I recorded that part twice and then panned one hard left, one hard right to kind of create that big stereo field. But in context, I think that whole, I mean, the beat is pretty much done. Now we have to arrange it, but it sounds like this. Woo! All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really had a lot of fun making this beat for you guys. Now, next week, we're going to be arranging it. So we're going to take this and create like verses and intros and breakdowns and all that fun stuff. So definitely come back next week. But for now, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you're not already. But I will see you guys on the next one.